This year's team isn't as good as the 2019 squad.
It's not that I feel disrespected. We get a lot of respect in this, but at the same time, this team, it's like we weren't winning by enough. I guess that's a stat. So we wanted to make sure everybody knew that we could still play good football when we wanted to.
I guess that's the stat. Pat Mahomes and company certainly with some extra motivation for the Super Bowl. One other note, compliments of NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. The Chiefs defense will be without linebacker Willie Gay, who is recovering from surgery from a torn meniscus. So he is going to be out for the Super Bowl. So that part, not good news, and will not make Kay, your niece, Maya, happy at all.
No, appreciate you, Will. Maya getting all sorts of love on the show and on Twitter this morning. Appreciate that, as always. And you're welcome, Chiefs fans, for the criticism and the motivation that I've been giving your team all season, saying they're winning, but they're not blowing out teams. They're letting teams hang around. I do like how Mahomes is handling this. He understands he's inherited top dog status, and people are going to try to poke holes and find weaknesses in anything that they do, which is probably pretty irritating, Kyle.
I would think so, too. If the Chiefs win this thing, and there's a Chiefs parade or when the shot of Mahomes getting off the plane, he should have a shirt that says, I guess that's a stat. Because that is a great quote. And if we're talking mantras for the teams later, say, I guess that a stat is awesome. Because it's like, that's the best you could do. It's kind of, we've talked about here at the table. And make no mistake, Mahomes sees things that people say. He is very calm in the media. He does not give sound bites. But if you look at him on Twitter, he will reply to things, and he will reply to one-offs and reply quickly, which means he's watching and he's listening. And when it comes to them not beating teams enough, what have they won, 26 of 27 games or something? They beat everybody. And the way when he talks like that, it feels like he's going to beat the Bucs.
And if you can watch that clip again that Will had, there's a twinkle in his eye where it takes a lot of him not to smile. So he's like, so I guess we didn't win by enough points. I guess that's a stat. And he like resists. I'm sure he's talking about our show, other shows, but I'm sure he's also talking about the one about dropped interceptions, which we've mentioned a bunch. There's ones about the Chiefs in the fourth quarter letting teams come back. To your point, I think he's got a notebook. He writes it all down. He doesn't have rabbit ears, but I think he hears it all, and I think he knows what people are saying, and it's only fuel for his fire.
Yeah, what has happened over the last few years is that numbers have become extremely important in sports. And you have these people who crunch numbers, and then you apply it to the football field. And then there's the traditionalists when it comes to football. It's like, all right, some of your numbers make sense. A lot of them don't. And if you're the Chiefs, you're sitting back saying, you guys can throw 1,000 stats at us. The one that matters the most for us is doves. And there's a lot of coaches that subscribe to that. I know coaches that say, I don't need a number cruncher next to me. Like when I'm watching the game, I don't need you to tell me the probability of this fourth down. I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to go with my heart. What matters is us executing the play. What matters is us getting the win instead of the loss. And with the Chiefs, I feel like that's the most important thing. Who cares how early they get down, how much they win by, how many picks Patrick, excuse me, Mom. But it doesn't matter. All that matters is at the end of the day, these guys win games.
Do you think, Shanks, he sees those things as a slight? Or do you think that the way I read that is more him saying, or whatever, this comes with the territory of being the overwhelming favorite. Or do you think it's like he has a notebook? Interesting.
Like you're going to let Aaron Rodgers be the MVP this year?
Yeah.
You guys are going to hype up another week of Josh Allen? He sees it all.
And it's Tom Brady week.
Now it's Tom Brady week.
Tom Brady week. How do you bet against the GOAT? I don't know, because I won it last year, and I'm going to win the next 50 years. Maybe because of that.
26, and I'm better than the GOAT.
And listen, things are going well for Patrick Mahomes. Like life is good. But you made $500 million in your contract. You have the best skilled players in the world. Your coach is super cool.
Personal life, beautiful.
Everything's baby on the way.
Baby on the way. Everybody loves the Kansas City Chiefs. Like we've embraced this Midwest squad. So sometimes you have to dig into your Michael Jordan bag and take it personally.
LeBradford Smith.
You have to. And it's a joke. That
Dan Marley can guard you.
Right? Like, even if it's nothing to us, maybe he's just like, I have to make something out of this because where do I find motivation if everything's going swimmingly?
Yeah, Tom Brady's having a pretty good year, too, I would say. And he spoke to the media yesterday discussing how much he has enjoyed his first season with his head coach, Bruce Arians.
There's nobody that ever would say anything bad about BA. He's so endearing to everybody, and I think everyone wants to win for him. And I think that's what coach, what's what you want to do for a coach is you want to get out there and you want to win for him. And he puts a lot into it, expects a lot out of it. It's high expectations for us every day of practice, and just really excited for him to be recognized in the way that he is. I know he's two-time coach of the year, but just done an amazing job this year with the team in really adverse situations, and just, love playing for him.
Triggs, in the NFC alone, I feel like a lot of people were saying win it for Drew Brees with the Saints, or win it for Aaron Rodgers for the Green Bay Packers. Should it be the same here in Tampa Bay, where he has 6, he wants a 7th? Let's win it for Tom. Let's get Tom his 7th. Or should it be win it for somebody else, maybe even Bruce Arians?
Yeah, a 67-year-old coach who's never coached in a Super Bowl as a head coach. I think it's so cool to hear this, and everything he says is got an undertone of Belichick. It's like, this is the coach that gives veterans their days off. This is the coach that tells coaches, literally, Bruce Arians tells the other coaches, I don't want to see you in the office past 6 p.m. Go home. Be with your family. And Bruce Arians is no secret. He likes to enjoy himself. He likes to play golf, and he likes to do things that are not all football. I think everything that Brady says about Arians, there's an undertone of he's the anti-Belichick. It's okay to enjoy and have fun and still win.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, it could be win it for Coach, win it for Tom Brady, but I talked with JPP yesterday.
Yeah.
And he was like, man, I know what it feels like to win a Super Bowl. He said, I want to win it for Levante David.
Really?
He said, I want to win it for guys that don't know that feeling and might not ever get to feel that again. And he was very candid. He said, I don't know if I'm ever going to get back here. So I think what makes this team special is there's a very family-like atmosphere where they all want to win it for each other for different reasons.
Last year it was win it for Andy. That's it. Like, I feel like this is very similar to that. The beloved, long-time coach who's never won the big one. They got it for Andy, and I think there is a win it for BA type deal.
BA started his NFL career in 1989. He was the running back coach for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so he was the coach for, of course, All-Pro Christian Okoye, which is interesting, little fitting narrative to let things go round circle here for Super Bowl 55. Okay, we've got so much coming up. Dante.
Buccaneers are back. Buccaneers fans have been through a lot of bad seasons. Even the last decade, we saw the numbers to start the show, just under 500 every season. So I ask you guys, you look back on those creamsicle uniforms, we obviously have a fondness in our heart for what that looks like. What does it mean to be at the top of the heap after starting your franchise 0-26, and especially this last decade, most recently, where they didn't see the playoffs at all?
It means a lot. First, the nugget, the creamsicle, the origin of that is actually when they were founding it, it's actually a citrus reference to the oranges that they grow in Tampa. So that's what they want it to look like. It's been repurposed as creamsicle, but it actually goes back to oranges. And Peter, like, I have vivid memories, a lot of the guys you named, and just watching Vinny Testaverde, like a great quarterback, just looked terrible. Like, they could barely line up. It was that bad. And I'm glad that you brought up the last decade too, because if you talk about all the 80s and all those teams and the last decade, it's a very tiny little drop in the bucket in their existence where they were good with Gruden. That's all we ever talk about and all those Hall of Famers. But other than that, it's a lot of suffering and a lot of nostalgia about uniforms, but not wins.
Yeah, what I love is that you think about the past few years, and this team has literally been the butt of the joke. It's been Jameis Winston. He's turning the ball over, eating the W's. What's going on in Tampa? And that's why I keep going back to Tom Brady and this being one of the greatest walk-offs in sports, if he does pull this off, is that he did have choices. Like, let's not get it twisted. Tom Brady could have pulled power moves and booted out somebody starting quarterback this offseason if he wanted to. He could have went to Indianapolis if he wanted, a team that was ready to win right now, or so we thought. And he said, I'm choosing Tampa. Which, if you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, if you live in Tampa,
talk about it. To be the one that's wanted, like,
yeah, like oftentimes, what is it? The players are courted, right? It's the city tweeting you saying, "Come to our squad," and it's the organization flying you in on some type of helicopter or private jet for Tom to say, I choose you. We had the Bachelor on the other day. Like, he literally gave the rose to Tampa and said,
it was like he put the hat on.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Like,
it was
national intention.
Like a high school choosing his college, like a high schooler choosing his college. And I think that's really cool, man. And Tampa should be really proud because this was improbable. I got to be honest. Even though I called these guys making it to the Super Bowl, when it came out of my mouth, I said nature crazy, like most people. So it is crazy that they're here. Let's just see if they can finish the job.
The reason I love these pieces that you do is because it's always new to me. Like, have I seen the footage from time to time? Yes. But did I watch the Buccaneers when they wore creamsicles? No, I did not. And so it's nice to learn. I can only speak then, Triggs, from my personal experience, and that starts with this show. Jameis Winston was our first guest on Good Morning Football. I really, truly feel earnestly that we have a special relationship with this team from the beginning. Jason Light came on our show, one of the first GMs to ever do it. Now GMs come on all the time, and he had fun with us. And he said, hey, Kyle, I have a sweating issue just like you do. Yeah. I'll never forget that, because to me that was a little bit revolutionary to have so much fun with us as a fan base, one that stuck with their team even through the bad times that you just outlined. So I'm so happy for the fan base. They're getting what they deserve. We've been through our ups and downs with them. Kyle and I were down there last year. You were down there as well. We didn't see you, but Kyle and I were on a pirate ship. These are some of the most enthusiastic fans I've been around in the NFL, and they get slept on a little bit. We get onto the field after we have the celebratory rah-rah. Me and Kyle are giving hype speeches to the fans, taking photos, wearing pirate hats. We go on the field. What happens against the Texans?
First play, right?
First play of the game, pick six.
We're standing on the sideline, and we're like, yeah, oh, and we look around, and all the fans are just like,
it was the first play
dejected.
And the last play.
Yeah, those are the memories that I carry, and that's just representative of what this has been for them. So just from personal experience, I couldn't be happier for this fan base.
And the Glazer family took over in the early 2000s. They had this great run, and for that ownership group and for that front office, so you mentioned Jason Light, a lot of those guys have been there through 3 different coaching staffs, Lovie Smith, Dirk Cutter, and now Bruce Arians. It's almost like